Welcome back, painting friends. Today we are going to paint a fun little bike in the spring. Colors you're going to need, well, there's a lot. Red, pink, orange, yellow, green, teal, brown, black, gray, and white. I always have my favorite 4 brushes in the studio, my 1-inch flat brush, my 10-6, and 1 round brush. Don't forget to have a cup of water and a rag for keeping those brushes clean. And remember, if you're liking what you're seeing here today, make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Painting with a Purpose, so you are kept up to date on all of my videos. So I'm going to start with my 1-inch flat brush and some gray paint. I'm just going to make the road for my bike. So I'm just going to put some gray paint down here. Once I have almost all that gray down there, I'm going to add a little bit of brown to it, a little bit of black to it. And I'm just going to kind of brush those colors in so that we have the ground for our bike to ride on. I'm then going to go ahead and wash and wipe my brush off, get it nice and clean. I'm going to add some white into my sky before I add in my yellow and orange. I'm imagining that this bike ride is taking place at sunset. So I've got a lot of white on there. I'm not even going to wash off my brush. Instead, I'm just going to grab some yellow and put some yellow on here. A little bit of orange, less orange than yellow. Just kind of randomly place it. I'm going to take my brush and just kind of brush all of these colors together. And you can choose to leave this as streaky as you want it, or you can kind of blend it until you like it. But just blend it till all the colors kind of cover the back of that canvas and you're happy with it. Now, you can leave it just like this, or if you want to add a little bit of green, you can always go through here and just add a little bit of green kind of along this edge to show that maybe there's some grass. I'm just taking my number 10 round brush. I'm just kind of squiggling some green grass along through here. All right, I think that's perfect. So we're going to let this dry now. When we come back, we're going to add in that beautiful bicycle. All right, my background's dry, and I just took an empty water cup and set it right here and right here to trace out where my tires are going to go. So I did trace those 2 little tires. I'm sure you can see them right there. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my number 6 round brush and some black paint. I like to water my black paint down, especially when I'm going to make a skinny little line. You can also choose to use a Sharpie for this if you want, so don't feel bad if you're going to switch over to a Sharpie real quick. But then we are just going to outline these tires with some black paint. So my bicycle is going to be a teal color. You can make yours any color you want. But with that teal color, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here in the center of this front tire. And I'm going to make a line that kind of just comes from there up to here where my handlebars are going to be. So I'm just going to make a nice straight line. Then back here on my wheel, I'm going to make a triangle. So I'm going to have the center part be right in the middle of the wheel. And then I'm going to have one part of my triangle be right here where my seat is going to go. And the other part of my triangle is going to be right here in the center where the pedal is going to go. So let's go ahead and connect that little triangle. All right, we're getting somewhere now. Now we have two connecting lines to make, and these are the connecting lines that are going to go from our handlebars down here to our bicycle wheels, okay? So this first one is going to start just above the tire, and it is going to connect right down here to this triangle. So just above the tire, it's going to connect right down here to that triangle. Now the other one's going to be up a little bit higher, but first we need to add the, actually I guess we don't need to. We're going to go right here, about halfway up. We're going to make that little spot, and it's going to kind of come over and then up. So that's kind of like the basics of our bicycle. We can go ahead and add our handlebars on here. I'm going to make one of my handlebars just kind of coming out that way. I'm not really going to see the other one, so we can just leave that right there where it is. Go ahead and wipe that brush off. I'm going to grab some black paint, and again, you can change the color of your bicycle seat if you want. But I'm going to make my bicycle seat, it's going to be kind of wider at the back, and it's going to be going down to a triangle at the front. I'm going to add my little basket on the front of my bicycle right here. And all that's going to be is just going to be a rectangle-ish shape. It's going to be a little bit wider at the top, and it's going to come a little bit more narrow down at the base. Now I do want that to have a little bit of a basket weave on it. So with my black paint, I'm just going to make a couple of lines that go top to bottom. Don't need too many. And then a couple of lines that go left to right. Looking back down here, right where our petals are going to go, we are going to add a small gray circle just around the petals. I'm going to add a little bit of black to that so it shows up a little bit darker. There we go. And I'm going to take a black line and come out from the center of that and put a small rectangle on it. I can make another one that kind of goes behind there with another small rectangle back there. Those are my petals. I'll take some black spokes and come from the outside edge all the way to the center of where my bike spokes are. And then I'm going to take a bar that goes from right here, and it's just going to kind of gently go right over the top of that. That's what protects your leg from hitting the spokes of your tire. Now, for as far as the spokes on the actual tire go, I'm going to start in that center area, and I'm just going to make some skinny lines that go all the way out. Now, you do not have to have these totally connect. It can just be like a visual reference of this is what's supposed to be going on. Okay, we're going to let this dry. When we come back in, we're going to add our highlights, our details, and of course, those beautiful flowers. So I am going to start up here with my basket, and I'm going to start with a mixture of yellow and green on my brush, and I'm just going to kind of fluff this around to be some greenery kind of background going on, okay? So there's no real rhyme or reason to this, just some green spaces. I'm going to wipe that brush off, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to add just a couple of curves of dark green on top of that. All right, let's leave that alone for a minute. Let's come back over here to the back of the bike, and I'm going to make the little curved part that goes over the back of the wheel. protects you from the mud splatter, right? There's also one of those in the front tire, so let's just go ahead and make that little curve right there also. I'm going to add a little highlight to the top of the back of this bike, as well as the top of my chair, my seat. I guess it's not really a chair, it's a seat. A little curved, little highlight along all the tops of my bicycle pieces. I'm going to take some brown and put it on the end of my handles. And then I'm going to take a little bit of white paint and add it to my spoke area. Just like I did with the black paint, just a little bit of white paint going down to that center part. Then I'm going to take a little bit of gray paint and just kind of make a circle that goes around the intersecting parts of my bike and those spokes. We even add a little highlight on this round part here too. I like highlights. Now, as far as my flowers go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my number 6 round brush with a little bit of my paint color. So if I want to make a red rose, I'm just going to make a small circle with my red. And then I can take a second color, maybe like a pink or a white, and add a little curve to it. In fact, I can even add pink and white. So let me kind of zoom us into this basket and see how we're going to add these colors in to our basket. Now you can make any kind of flowers you want, but I just thought roses would be a really nice touch to this. So I've got my red and pink rose. I can even go in here and add a pink rose with maybe just some white to it. So it's just a circle and a little bit of another color, just kind of curving that in any place you want it to go. Maybe I'll go in and add a couple of tall greens sticking out from the top, and maybe a couple of straggly ones kind of swinging down from the bottom. I can add a little bit of yellow in my paint and just add a couple of small little leaves on those. I'm still just using my number 6 brown brush, barely letting it touch the canvas, with some green and yellow paint on it. And then on the top of those, daisies are my favorite, so I think I'm just going to stick with daisies. I'm going to take the back of my brush with a little white and a little yellow. So I've got the back of my brush, made my yellow dot, and then I'm going to use the back of that brush again and go around these with some white dots. And if you're really loving those daisies, we can even add them along our greenery. So let's zoom out and see what else we want to add to this. I think I am going to add just a couple of little daisies popping up through the grass, maybe 3 over here and 2 back this way. So same thing, little green spots, and then I'm going to just use my yellow paint for the center and some white paint to go around it. And I really think I want to add some clouds to the sky. So I'm going to go back in with my 1-inch flat brush, and with my brush just barely touching, I'm just going to go back and forth with some white paint, just adding a couple of wisps of clouds in the sky. And there you have it. When you finish, make sure that you sign your artwork. I always put my initials in the bottom right corner. Now remember, I never get to see what you're painting at home unless you post it to my Facebook page, Painting with a Purpose. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Painting with a Purpose, so you are kept up to date on all of my tutorials. And remember, as always, stay kind, stay creative, and stay safe. Have a great day, friends. Bye now.